I am Cherokee Cooper, aka King Chi, y'all mother, and I am back with another tool for your toolkits. I think tonight there's going to be quite a bit of tools. I'm just going to freestyle with you all as questions come in. I didn't give a heads up this time to let you know that I would be going live because honestly, I didn't know when I would have a chance to finally just sit here and be present, which was what got me here in the first place. So if you're new, welcome to my channel where I talk about life, living in other dimensions, meditation, occult practices, and all of the all of the above. Welcome back to all of my members. Peace, what up, Nagasakwa? Peace, Mermaid K. Peace, Naga Chocolate Coffee. Peace, Dr. Emerald J. Fairy Gang in the building. Got the Nagas in the building. Peace, Electric Lioness. How y'all doing? 23 Divinity, Chris Bullet. Peace and welcome. Welcome, welcome. As y'all see, I'm rocking the favorite color this evening. I couldn't catch that beautiful sunlight for you all, so I'm hoping that this artificial light is not going to like burn my eye out. What's up? Peace, welcome, divine present wholeness. Hey, B502. Oh, Chris Boulet. I say Chris Bullet. What's up, y'all? So the Q&A is going to kick off with living on higher ground, but I'm going to open up the floor for whatever questions you might have pertaining to your own experiences now. Some of you, not everyone who's watching, is doing all of the homework side of things because this is a mixed space. But I'm sure there's lots of questions, and I was talking to, back it up. I was talking to my best friend, and I was like, going over regular stuff. I have a life, you have a life. And the conversation started circling around the main theme was being present. Just being present. I know we have a lot of planning. I know we have a lot of goals. I know everyone's thinking, how are they going to be the next millionaire? How are they going to become the next billionaire? And in between all of that, there's life is happening, responsibilities, relationships, how to communicate, how to keep all of these things organized, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to make more money, but we are looking for that way to pull in prosperity that does not end up feeling super heavy and icky. Like, I am noticing personally, this may speak to you as well, that there are some connections or lack thereof that have too much static. And in the static, it becomes messy, but not messy like reality TV messy, like messy. Like it requires too much energy to happen. Okay? And this rule of thumb of being present helps with the process of refinement through ultimate, when I say ultimate, top of the line discernment. Okay? You with me? We can't be everywhere at one time. And we can't be really safe and protected if we're not present. We cannot achieve even the slightest of goals if we are not present. Okay? If you do not pay attention when you are brushing, Okay. If we're not present while brushing our teeth, you can miss something very important. Flossing. That little poppy seed from your everything bagel. That piece of peanut that is getting stuck in a cracked tooth. You see what I'm saying? You gotta be present. Oh, thank you. I was gonna say twinkle, but it sounds like no, you guys. Thank you very much. Fairy dust. Appreciate you. I'll be silly. If we're not present with these small details, we can end up with a lot of decay and not understand why. And somehow, when we're really shooting for high stakes earning, high stakes, meaning we're now shooting for absolutely what we desire and wanting to have the courage to not settle for less. Details are important. Details help you details help you save time. All right. I don't really want to feed you all questions, but let's take for example, Yalatif. Okay. Because we've discussed or we've covered Yalatif, and I think we can go a little deeper with it. All right. Totally is just going to swing into a zikr. Yalatif is meant to refine. The type of refinement is not your typical clipping the edges and cleaning up a picture based on simply what you think you desire. The principles of Yalatif are so attuned to the master of planners that it helps first to shake things up so you can get a little separated from what is polluting your environment. Shaking it up, giving you enough space between you and what is being polluted or what is polluting your space so that you can become aware of it. All right? It's hot. It's really hot in here. Turn this heat down. Now, as subtle as Yalatif is, because it is subtlety, it is a very strange moment of realization when even the smallest of spaces or gaps are created between what you are used to and what is attached to you. Name some things that are attached to you that since you've been zikkering Yalatif, you've noticed this is an attachment. It doesn't actually belong to me. Okay, so this is a question that you need to be bringing into your presence. It's ultimately what got me here tonight to sit with you all. Was I just was screaming out to the universe, can we all just be more present? And presence does not cost us anything. Lack of presence can take everything away. Okay? I think it's about time that we all realize that our experience is really guided by how we believe it should be. And the only way for us to change our belief systems around what we should be experiencing is first acknowledging where there is resistance or a disagreement with what you are experiencing. And that requires a high level of presence. I'll use a safe learning that doesn't, emotional charge. There was something I wanted to learn, or I wanted to do with my phone. You all, I'm an alien, and I totally detach from these tools a lot of times, which is why I don't have a hate relationship with technology. It just requires a lot of commitment for me to get through with it. The simplest of things. Complicated things are easier for me to understand and pull apart. So my son is encouraging me on my quest to tackle TikTok and this is my new animal, okay? Tackle the TikTok. And I have footage, and he has all of these ideas, and he's been watching me since he's been a little kid. Just document so many things, and he's like, put it together. It's so easy, Mom. You can just take that and you can clip this. And I'm like, stop. I don't know how to do it. So can you teach it to me? So many of us, don't bring your conversations or your interactions present with the truth of where you are with a thing. Especially when you're in front of people who expect you to be like amazing at everything. And if you're not really present with your own reality, you will allow the facade that other people are living in to run you, to cause you to feel shame, to cause you to feel not equipped, to cause you to feel like you're falling behind, and not realize that their perception can only be as clear as you give it to them. And that's just the case with everyone. Okay? And so I slowed him down and said, I'm very certain that if you spend at least 3 sit downs with me to show me from content to editing to posting that I will be able to learn it. That it'll happen. I'll be able to learn it. And I'll be so gracious. And he slowed down. He's like, okay, got it. For some reason, too many people have become accustomed to assuming that human interaction can handle the way the brain likes to skip over details in order to get things done. Human interaction is not like getting in your car, turning it on, and hitting the gas. You see, there's millions, billions of drivers. Then you have some not so good drivers, and then you have drivers who are amazing. I'd like to say I am one of those amazing drivers. Like, I can get through the cracks. I can definitely cut time in half, and we'll all be safe. Okay? But those defensive drivers, they're more present. Even though they're driving faster, they're more present, so it allows them to maneuver very quickly and accurately. Lazy drivers, who are just in autopilot, are the ones who usually run into things because they assume that the light is going to change and everyone's going to go. They assume that the person sees the crossing light is not for them and they're not going to cross the street. They assume that when the person puts on their blinkers that they're absolutely going to make that turn. And through all of those assumptions and being in autopilot, they're the ones that end up in the accidents because they lack presence. And so when you realize that something as huge as that requires presence, even though our brains make it possible for us to do this thing every day without thoroughly wearing us out, human interaction requires presence. Because every time a human being interacts with anything at all, there is an exchange. There is a chemical exchange. Whether it's picking up a new book and reading one line in the book and the mind starts to ruminate on that particular line and how synchronous it is to their life in the moment. Or if they have a conversation with someone and the person gives them terrible news, suddenly everything about that person's experience changes. And where they may have been on their way to something exciting, their capacity for excitement now may be different. And it will take presence when they make the next connection for there to be some type of feeling of being seen, feeling of being understood. All right? Presence. So Yalatif. Yalatif, when it is operating as a subtle space, will cause you to realize things like plans that don't come together very easily. Like calling up a friend and making plans and trying to coexist at the same time in the same space, and suddenly that's just not happening. And you recall a time where that was quite easy. It was very intuitive. It was very much like instinct. Now, in the busyness of adulting, you know, applying for jobs, paying bills, selling products, making things, cleaning your homes, ordering food, you know, adulting. In the busyness of that, we can lean on assumption and go, oh, crazy, yeah, we're just having a wonky time communicating. Is Mercury in retrograde? You know, stuff like that. Or because we are not just adults, we are adults, aliens, jinn, angels, living on a higher ground where when things don't sync up, there is a subtlety that needs your presence to be addressed, to be acknowledged. And if you are intentionally working with an intelligence, right? Yalatif. Latif is an attribute of Allah. That means it's already perfect in its characteristic. If you're calling this into your life, you're calling into your life a hypersensitivity to what is harmonious, what is beautiful, because it is true and in harmony. It's in alignment with who you're being, how your being is transforming into something else and moving. We're always moving, right? Everything is always in motion. So in that heightened sensitivity, when meetings are missed, when calls drop, when your flow increases, where you're suddenly writing a whole lot. These are not good or bad. These are these like winks or whispers of adjustments that need to be made so that everything can start to move as if it were your second nature. More so like your first nature, just instinctually. When I speak to the beauty of that, this is not just beauty as your opinion of what is beautiful and your opinion of what is beautiful. Overall, the beauty is in the symmetry of things, in the synastry of things, in how things are woven and create flow. So I mentioned like this shaking up that Yalatif does. But Latif is the quality of water, okay? So it washes. It's not a rough cleaning. We have things that are rough, like sandpaper, for refinement, to bring out luster. But this is a divine washing, right? When we get a stain on our clothes, there's this washing that occurs, and you don't get it by like dipping the clothes in the solution and pulling it out. Totally not like the commercials. You know, the commercials where they like soil up the white t-shirt and then they dip it in the OxyClean and they're like, look, it's so perfect. No, that's a farce. That's not real. This zikr is washing you, your entire, not just your body, right? It's not your body. What it's doing is we have this electromagnetic field, And so does the next person next to you. So does the next person next to you. So do all of us. And we're connected to this invisible network of electricity. And we all bring our own particular pattern and frequency. So if you can imagine, it's like all of these power lines are connected to you, connected to that person, that person, that person, that person, and it can get messy. But Latif is like washing through the lines, like with detangler, right? And conditioner. Washing the hair, washing the hair, washing the hair, washing the hair. So that it can, can get rid of what's dead. That's not growing. That's not part of it. Okay? Then it can show you, oh, you have a little dry scalp patch here. A little patch of dry scalp. Okay, cool. Let's address it. Put some oil there. All right. Washing it, washing it, washing it. You don't need that you don't need that extra car any longer. Donate it. Okay, get rid of that. Oh, that person over there needs a new writer for their newsletter. And I'm giving you lots of creativity. There's your outlet. You fit perfectly. Boom, y'all meet each other. Latif. Latif makes things start to go more smoothly. But initially, there is a roughness that happens because it has to shake things up in order for you to even see it. Like when you're walking around with your hair on your back, you know, you got your natural oils in your hair and you're sweating, you're doing your thing. If it weren't for you taking a rag and washing your back, you can't feel the dirt on your back all the time. Like you can't feel that you're dirty. The washing has to happen in order for you to feel, and then you have to see it to be like, oh snap, dang, I'm washing my back, but maybe I need to get me one of those long loofah brushes. So the same thing happens in every aspect of your life. But it requires presence in order for you to shift gears and see like, oh, okay. Like on a brighter side, you know, people want to go immediately to like, oh, I was hitting Latif, and like I started getting money. Because it's thinking about, okay, I need to get this bread. Latif is perfect for that. Because most times what's blocking the bread is that you're dirty in some aspect. You're dirty in some aspect and it is creating like a blocked drain for you. So nothing can come in and nothing really is going out either. It's stagnant. Or you got one of those situations where you're just giving out on one end, but you don't have a relationship with receiving. And so you find yourself in this imbalance. Sometimes the closest thing to you is a personality, your own personality. You know, you've been a particular personality for whoever shows up for such a long time that as you are doing this zikr, now you got resistance or some type of friction in places where you don't even realize your personality is starting to shift and other people are not really feeling that. It's not really a bad thing necessarily. But you got to be thankful for some of that chaotic energy, that static. Because that lets you know, okay, wait, who am I? What persona am I in now? Because I thought I was being consistent with who I am. And now I'm having resistance in this particular exchange. Have you always been the friend that is like, oh yeah, the planner, and the one who organizes everything and shows up and make sure that everybody is good? And now you have shifted your persona to, I need to pay more attention to myself. I need to take better care of myself, because last year and all these years before, I realized I'm doing all this shadow work and I feel exhausted. I feel like I'm like putting out all this energy, but I'm not really hitting a particular mark for myself. Okay, well, let me stop doing that so much. And then suddenly, the plans ain't really planning. They're not coming together as well. And there you are, still being the same dedicated friend, showing up for connection, but it's not connecting any longer because you're in Latif. And Latif already has brought to your awareness, oh, the goal here is I need you to shift your way of showing that you care and you're there. If it requires you to now go 85% of the way, that's not going to work anymore. You used to do that all the time. Now, you're learning that you go 50% of the way, be 100% responsible for your 50%, and allow other people to be 100% responsible for their 50%. And then there's no reason why there should be any complaints, right? Because we are only 100% responsible for our half of any relationship to one thing. Your dreams. Your dreams may not be as direct, but dreams about water, dreams about large amounts of water, water coming in, water breaking things down, that is letting you know that Latif is working. What do we know about water? Water damn near is like light. If there is a tiny, tiny opening, water will find its way through it. And water determines the container, because the amount of water is going to tell you what you need in order to hold it. Even though we look at it that the water conforms to the container. When we want to go pick up water, we don't go with our woven basket. It could be this big. But if we bring the woven basket to the ocean, we're going to walk away with shells, not water. So we got to go with the container that has no holes, right? Can we go to the ocean with a paper container? No. Because when you collect the water, it's going to wash away the paper. So the water is determining that you're going to have to use material that is impermeable. It does not have the ability for the water to seep through. And then now, how much water are you allowed, or well, I'm using the word water, right? But how much water, how much of the ocean are you even allowed to take? Even if you wanted to carry the whole ocean, you could not. It does not exist, because the ocean will determine how much of it you can take. And if you take too much, it will upset the balance and cause storms. There's so many secrets to the power of water. So when we're calling this divine element to work its subtlety through our lives, we got to know that some things are just going to be shook up. And it won't absolutely be cute all the time. But presence gives us mastery over those shakeups. You know, I'm truly a scientific mind. And so I would, a lot of the times my analogies come from looking at how do I set up a real experiment to see if something's working or not. Do I have a like I like the double blind. Like, let's not even say anything about what's going on and see if this individual can pick up on the details. Let's shift the players in this particular situation so that we can see if there's a constant present with a particular energy that is going on. You know, only presence is going to get excited about change and even the silence in between the changes. I know I'll be looking a little cross-eyed because I keep looking inside and up to chat with you all. But don't judge me. Nothing's wrong. I don't have a wandering eye. I just am thinking internally and bringing things forward. What questions do you all have in regards to presence? Because I think as a clear example, I don't want to assume that, you know, you all get it. Maybe some pineapple ginger. Do you have any questions? Like how to navigate some of these things? Do you have any questions? See, you guys are kind of geeky. Yeah, you can ask a question regarding the zikrs. I may or may not have an answer for you. How does presence correlate to synchronicities? So, synchronicities are the loudest when you're present. And you get to take advantage of them way sooner. For example, let's say the synchronicity is in numbers, right? You're walking down the street, and for some reason, this particular set of numbers, that for some reason, that little thing, that's so subtle, right? It's not a birth date. It's not a typical 1111, 888. There's sometimes there are number sequences that just grab our attention. So in presence, it imprints. You don't miss it. Fine. Because of that level of presence, because you're not projecting. Let me slow that down. Sometimes we're projecting for ourselves to see 1111, to see 888, to see 777, to see these numbers repeating themselves. Anytime numbers repeat themselves, they're obviously going to get our attention because they're more rare to happen. But when you're not projecting and something catches your attention, then you are more in attunement with subtlety, because it's a whisper and it's only for you. Only you would see that and know. It could be a birthday, right? And because it's a birthday, that would be the whisper of the person whose birthday it is. So you happen to see that birthday. Let's say the birthday is October 15th. Cool. You're on your way to the library. You want to check out some reference books. You get into a dope conversation about a book that you're taking out. And the person is like, asks you, oh, what's your sign? And you're like, oh, I'm a Sag. And you're like, what's your sign? And they're like, oh, I'm a Libra. And you're like, oh, cool, when's your birthday? And you're like, October 15th. And you're like, okay. Easily in the excitement of that conversation, if you're not being present, you know, one of those, someone asked me my sign, so I asked them their sign, when's your birthday? And you moved into that whole, like, kind of letting the conversation go how typically it would go. You go, okay, cool, right? And walk away. Then when you get outside, you're like, oh, snap. That was the number that I saw. And maybe now you turn around, you go back to the library to go and share that moment, but the person is not there any longer. Now, here's the trippy part. When we're talking about synchronicities, being present, working with Zickers, starting to have some interactions with Jinn, that could have been your opportunity to further the conversation and to share, wow, that's interesting. I just saw that birthday earlier. Tell me more about yourself. And you would have had a secret revealed to you by someone who appears to be a person who was not really before you left the scene. But presence would have lined up that the intensity of the synchronicity so that you can't miss it. Because the best synchronicity is when we're not projecting. And we can absolutely project synchronicities into our reality. And so those are two different things. We have active manifestation where we are focused solely on this one particular thing that we are drawing that particular experience into our lives. And then we have divine synchronicities that align with the energetics of the deities we're working with, the petitions we've put forth, the qualities of the sacred names that we're zikkering. And those are on a whole higher level, because that's where we get into, I had my plans. God laughed at me. But the way shit worked out, I could have never had made it any better. You see what I mean? So we want a mixture of both, because we want evidence that as a creator, as a God, that we are absolutely creating our reality. But as a sorcerer, we want to know for certain that the work that we're doing is starting to command an allegiance that is supernatural and goes above and beyond the limitations that the human beings have, in order for me to really, really get into an alignment with a life that is thoroughly satisfying. You ever heard, like, when you're seeking for something good to happen in your life, name that particular thing, but always leave room for and better and more or more? Because that disclaimer is honest about the brain. The brain wants to ask for things that it can be comfortable with, that don't create fear or doubt. And so we're working with these divine names so that we can not only be present with expanding our consciousness, but also expanding our team who's working on our behalf in ways that we just physically cannot do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to eat at some point. I have to use the toilet at some point. These are just realities. These are the limitations of being a human being. I have to breathe in this air. So while I have these human limitations, taking this ride in this vessel, I know that it's only to my benefit if I tap into my allegiance, my relationships, and agreements with these other things that don't have those limitations. And sure, they have their limitations in another way. Don't get it twisted. But that's what collaboration is all about, right? Can I get some shades in the chat? And honestly, thank you so much for acknowledging my monetization or whatever. And Captoria, welcome back, sis. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. I'm looking, let me scroll. How can one be more mindful and present here instead of spaced out over time? Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathing, writing, horse stance, headstands, inversions. All right, so, I know that for some people, the way that I communicate may not be their cup of tea because it might be coming from too far out and it may appear fragmented. But for some people, they get it because they're able to assimilate these different pieces as the picture comes together. I'm aware of that, okay? I quite literally have to prepare for a linear conversation at times, depending on the subject matter, at times. So being spaced out in that regard, where your imagination is beyond the boringness of get up, eat, shower, shit, wash your face, shower, because I did say shit, right? And work, pay the bills. Your imagination is far beyond that. And what people are offering in your immediate environment can be like boring. It's not engaging you, right? How do you ground so that you can still be a responsible adult and take care of the boring things that need to be done and still allow yourself space and time for that creativity to explore, to talk to other entities in other dimensions? When you feel like it's time where you need to just be grounded and you're just too far out, and you're too far out because bills are not getting paid on time. You're too far out because the dishes are piling up in the sink. You understand? Like, you have to have some markers for, okay, I'm being a little too spaced out. Like, certain things have to get done. You got to ground. And you can ground by writing down 1 to 3 things that absolutely need to be done and require your concentration. Okay? Just write them down. And then allow yourself some space in between where you're being spaced out and then you want to get focused to meditate. And that meditation is just an abrupt pause in doing everything but nothing at the same time to I want to focus on this one particular thing. And that little gap can be 5 to 15 minutes long. It should not be longer than that, because by the time you pass that mark, then you're going to be continuing off into space. So really, obviously, like between 5 to 10 minutes. Okay? If you really, really feel like you're flying off the hinges, you take that 15 minutes. But that's it. Nothing long. Because all you're going to be doing is distracting yourself once again with being far out than the things you need to be taking care of. So writing things down is your mindfulness. Noting what's out of place is your mindfulness. And rather than just, this is what I feel is off, write it down. Whatever grabs your attention and say, slow down, homie. You need to take care of some stuff. Like I mentioned, the dishes. The dishes, right? When I say you got to focus on one thing, the dishes are out of control. I need to wash the dishes. Meditate. 5 minutes. I'm going to wash the dishes as soon as I finish meditating. Boom. Get it done. If you're feeling a whole lot of energy, I also mentioned you can do the horse stance. And that helps. Okay? Peace, Ia. Was that helpful? Peace, Ia. How to stay present. Oh, you guys. All right. I said it's a Q&A. We'll do this next time. All right, peace, Ia. How do you stay present with a consistent pattern of withdrawal during hard times? Cancer qualities of withdrawing. Oh, the not wanting to confront because you're going to feel too deeply. Fear of being misunderstood. How do you stay present? I think what you're saying is a very present mention, because you realize that when emotions are high, which means there's going to be some type of conflict, or there's too much conflict. So like Cancer's risings, Cancer moons, Cancer suns, a lot of times people respond negatively because they are so sensitive. But being sensitive does not really define all of what sensitivity means. Okay? Sensitivity means that they have the superpower of feeling, of knowing not only what they are feeling, but also having like a precognition of other feelings of what people are feeling. Okay? And so when their feelings are triggered, imagine if I can feel you 1,000 miles away, imagine what it feels like to feel my own feelings inside of my body. So of course, if there's something triggering some type of challenge emotionally, I'm going to want to create some barrier between myself and what is causing that. What happens is, if you take note that in your retreat, that opposing force or that circumstance continues to linger, that's when you have to realize you do have a shell. You do have a protective armor. And you do also have claws. So you may need to use them. You may need to bite when it's necessary. You've retreated long enough to see if this thing is going to back down or it's going to come keep looking for you. And when things keep looking for you, that's when you show up and you bite. Okay? If you can't walk to the side and get away from it, and you're walking to sidestepping leads them to walk by you and keep it moving, then that option doesn't work. So you get out of your fields and you get more into your mind, and this is where you connect that heart mind connection, and you go, okay, I can't keep emotionally bypassing just because I have the capacity for my feelings to wash over. So be present. If it's a consistent pattern of withdrawal, then you fearlessly try something different from withdrawal. Presence brings us to the playing board of honesty to say, is this working or is it not working? You're being a scientist now. Because if it ain't working, then you got two choices. Live with it, put up, or don't. Shut up. Right? Put up and shut up. Or, pardon me, change it. Say something. And then stand on that. If I start doing, okay, next question. I hope that was helpful. Put something in my tip jar, y'all. No. Because I'm monetized now. I just want to see the little thing go up there. That was cool. If I start doing the zikr and stop in the middle due to an interruption, can I continue the zikrs later from where I left off, or do I have to start over from the beginning? It was explicitly explained that if you're hitting a particular number when it comes to zikkering, if you stop, you have to start over. That's it. You got to start over. Okay? Thank you, Jomo Baby Rockaway. Thank you, thank you. If I start, all right? Yes, you got to start over from the beginning. Now, the plus thing with the plus side of zikkering and messing up and having to start over is that you're still building up the energy. You didn't hit the formula, so you have to start over. But you still get to be to build up the energy. It doesn't go away. It's not like, oh, you're back to zero. It's just you're back to zero with the formula. Formulas are crucially important when it comes to Sufi science and making things happen. They're not going to happen if the formula isn't correct. All right. Hey, thank you, Electric Lioness. Thank you, Nagasakwa. Nagasakwa. Let's vote. Let's vote for what my word is gonna be. I want to say something other than thank you, and I ain't saying Ashe. I said che chingoling. Yes, you said that in the mindfulness video. Writing Ramanama for clarity. Writing Ramanama. I have been thinking about that practice. That happened. No, that's not it. Yeah, I loved waking up early in the morning and doing that. What? That practice of writing, Ramanama, it is amazing for the brain. Thank you, Becky Blossoms. I appreciate you. And you know what she said? She said, thank you for the advice. Super helpful for me to stay practical during this period. Oh my gosh, absolutely. So we have to be a mixture of delusional and practical. If we don't have that relationship happening in our lives, we're just gonna be loony bins according to society, and that's not the point. You see, I'm like, we're different from that. You feel me? We're a different type of community. It's not just about hugging trees and sitting with genies and are fairies real? Like, all that stuff is fun. But when I tell you that I see other communities who are diving into these spiritual concepts, they're going into some spiritual concepts, but they don't really have the practicals in place so they can see how these things work. It keeps people in this loop of, it's like faith-based. It's just faith-based. I can honestly tell you that I am the most question-asking, challenging beliefs person in all of my religious houses. Faith-based is not satisfying enough. Okay? Faith-based expects adults to remain ignorant to what they are capable of doing for themselves. And in that way, you end up having adults that will do the bare minimum, but they will not take responsibility for making the slightest changes necessary to get what they want. That's why I don't like faith-based only. And to me, I find everything is spirituality, not just when you're sitting at an altar. And so the practical way of being present is going to help keep you sane in this insane place. I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Iachi, for your time and beautiful wisdom, as always. Thank you so much, Nairobi. Nagasaki. I've been seeing my distractions are not a part of me and how much I go into them. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. Ohene Nana. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Do the spirits leave when the master teacher leaves? My money has gone down since Occult College went down. First of all, the master teacher did not leave. So the fact that you're even saying that means that you might have been a parasite, because you're relying on the free YouTube channel in order to get these learnings, and now are claiming that your money went down because the free YouTube channel is gone. You might want to look at your relationship with your wealth. You know, I appreciate your question, but I'm just going to be honest with the answer here, because T been teaching. He ain't never stopped. And Discord is on and popping. There's a whole lot of sauce there. So, yeah. You know what I mean? And if you want to, you know, you can keep it real and tell us, is that what's up? Because if your money went up while you was watching the videos, where you putting money back in the pot, is what I want to know. Were you hitting up the stores? Were you paying your membership? And I don't think so. Not if you're saying something like that. All right. What happens to the Occult College? The YouTube channel going, or is it just me? Oh, y'all trolling now. I don't got no answers for people who don't know at this point. You feel me? I've been at the end and have to start all over. It happens. Oh my gosh. Complacent ambiguity. Right. So, like, the details matter. I've been getting deeper in the works, and no money keep going. And no, my money keep going up. Ashe. No, I bought Zay Polenta candles and did rituals. Okay, well, I don't know who you are, and I never did a consultation for you, so I really don't know nothing about your money. So if you want to, you could, somebody put my number in the chat. Okay. I've been working on bringing more presence with my family, as I recently received the complaint that I focus in on these lessons and ignore what's around. Okay. So let's talk about that, because on a real, the Slytherin family, I can't say the Occult College only, the Slytherin family, which means on Discord, are a beast. Why that is? People are having real experiences. People are in a space where they're able to connect with other adults who are successful in their lives, but who don't necessarily have others around them that can understand why their dreams are so important to them, why they even have the delulu that they're going to be millionaires, and everyone else around them ain't never seen more than, 30 grand a year, right? What really holds the community together is the fact that y'all are really on some advanced stuff. It's really advanced. And the types of things that you all are doing, they're not in these books simply because they weren't meant for masses. Like, the things that are not some of the rituals, they're more so created for if you are on track for initiation. So you need to learn how to do these things. You need to really be well versed in this. You need to understand how to move. You see what I'm saying? Now, with that all being said, traditionally, thank you, Ravola. Traditionally, people who were deeply embedded in the occult, they either were part of a cult, like a cult, a organization, because cult, the culture of everyone living together was that. So everyone wakes up to do these particular prayers, mantras, offerings, setting up ceremonial circles. That's what everybody does. So nobody misses anything because everybody is together doing that. Okay? Thank you, Vasuki Coily. Appreciate you. But then we have societies where you want to be actively engaged in this family, right? Call it a cult. I don't care. All of these organizations are cults. They have a culture. This is how we do things. We have a philosophy of how we do things. And if you don't operate in this way, you're not going to fit in. And you're absolutely not even desired to be in here because you upset the balance within that organization. Okay? Whatever it is. NOI cult, Ifa cult, Yoruba cult, Satanist cult. Like it ain't God, like the church evangelist cult, you know, whatever. Because if you're not operating like them, they don't really want to bang with you anyway. Okay? So when you're living and you're practicing with one family and then your family's not a part of it, you have to get present with what's necessary to ensure that your environment will continue to sustain you while you also are sustaining them in ways that they may not fully understand. And mind you, if they really, really love you, they already know you into stuff. And at times, because they really, really love you, they may notice that you're going so far into something that they no longer are connecting with you, and that creates some type of fear is one. Fear of loss of connection. And when you are the mama, or you're the feminine presence in a home space, and the family is relying on your nurturing, relying on your softness, relying on your attention to detail, there has to be some type of support that comes from structure. The last video I made, I talked about setting up structure, sacred structure, a container for what you want to experience, so that that experience does not cause damage to you outside of that container. You see what I'm saying? So what I love about you being present means I still have an ear for my family. I still have an ear for my family, and not only are they saying they feel like you are spending too much time on your lessons, which you want to find out. Because sometimes that's just like that's a blanket statement. Oh, it's like you spending so much time at work and not enough time here. And sometimes it's not the quantity, it's the quality of time. So if you're with them, and let's say you're having dinner or you're out at the park, and then a video comes on, and then you're like listening to the video while you're at the park, while everyone's talking to you, and you're like, huh, what did you say? Can you repeat yourself? Right? Here is the problem. Be present with who's right in front of you, so that the quality of the time spent is really felt and the connections are made. Because the more the connections are made within your family, is the more you build intimacy, where they get to see and know you, and you get to see and know them. And there are some... I'm changing my phone number. Where did I get cut off at? It's really flowing there. I'm changing my phone number. Damn it. Intimacy. Okay. So, in your presence, You're going to be able to see where there are possible marks where you can build a bridge from from what you're really into and where your family is connected to you. Okay? All right, I'll wait just a minute. Hold on. Not either. You say you could hear me just fine? Stop messing with me. Why are y'all doing this to me? Thank you, Nagini. Adamastos. Adamastos. Alright. Alright. They need to find the gold. Thank you. Thank you. That's funny. Alright, so that makes sense. When you're present, especially your family is important. Okay? Family is very important. Don't let, these times where, yo, I'm sorry, this pineapple will call my name. That girl. What my daughter call me? Big back? Okay. Sorry, YouTube. I'm not trying to have hate speech. Don't cancel me too. But anyways, being present with family is important. It's important because at the end of the day, when stuff hits the fan, you want to still have your connections with people in real life. And I think that this time is teaching us that, because the internet has allowed folks to connect so deeply emotionally with people miles and miles away, just based off of similar beliefs, based off of similarities in things you like to do, that it became easy to disassociate with the people that are around you. But you see, when the COVID thing happened and people were forced to be inside, that was, I feel, really shook